Hi guys, I'm Bamdeli from Delaware Studios. You're welcome to another episode of Android Programming. We'll be looking at how to parse different JSON formats in Retrofit, in which we'll be focusing on the JSON array. You might be familiar with a particular type of JSON. Basically, this type you're seeing right there on your screen that has an array of objects. You just use the items as an identifier to point to different key value pairs in the array. But what about a JSON format that is being wrapped around with the brackets, which is the JSON array? You have something of this nature. You wonder will you be able to decode these? How will you be able to pass this from the client Android app? And I'm going to be showing you how to do this using Retrofit. It's quite easy, but different from the normal way we've been passing JSON. I have this application whereby called Java developers, and it's actually getting links of different users, that actually write Java from the GitHub repository, and we pass this easily. But I got other queries in the course of handling other projects. I noticed we have different kind of JSON formats that could be clumsy for you as an Android developer to pass, and this gave rise to this particular kind of JSON, whereby you get to have it surrounded with the bracket, which is the JSON array. So without much ado, we'll be going straight on how to actually pass this format of JSON. Before you go further, you need the JSON schema pojo, just to create a pojo from the JSON you have. So you have to paste this so that you get to have your model, which is the set and get. Forward, go to this link, I'll paste the JSON. It's right sitting online, so I'll be calling it from the cloud, using Retrofit, and you can preview. And after previewing, you have the ability to probably copy this out and save it as a class. This is going to be the point of your model, whereby we're going to get the URL, get the title, and set the title and URL appropriately. After this, after you have that set, we'll be headed straight to Android Studio, where you get to set up the structure of your application. And we'll start out from the build Gradle, which actually houses the dependencies. Majorly, we have the constraint layout, the design, the support design, we have the recycler view, and we have the card view as well, because we're going to actually display the list of football clubs, their logo and their title, in the grid layout. So that's why we need the recycler view and the card view. And we also need glide to load up the picture that we'll be using, and we'll need the retrofit and the converter as well, that actually makes the network call to the JSON, which is right sitting there in the cloud. And might need the OK HTTP 3 login interceptor to actually validate the credentials. Without set and done, once you have all these dependencies set, just synchronize Gradle and you have your application set and ready to go. From here, we'll go straight to the layout. We're going to be having two major layouts here: the launcher, which is the activity name, and the card, which serves like the item of each recycler view. Now, inside here, we have the constraint layout, because this is actually being created by default. Once you're using Android Studio 2.3 upwards, you have the constraint layout as the default layout for your activity main, which is quite good. It gives you the ability to create complex UI. So stick with the constraint layout. You can decide to flow different layouts side by side. You can build up different complex layouts using the constraints layout. Now I pass in the Android support version 7 widget, which is the recycler view that has the tools which points to the list item, the card, the themes underscore card. Talk about that layout. This is just the themes underscore card is the items that will be displayed right there on the UI. Let's get to look at that. The themes card has a linear layout as the parent tag. Afterwards, we have the card view follows. Right inside the card view, we have different two uh, layouts, which we have the image view and the text view. The image view displays the logo of each club, while the text view, populates out the title of the club, which is going to be the club name. So that's what the two snippets will be doing, and these are going to be displayed right there in a grid format. So from here, we'll be going straight down to our classes. Let's get to consume the JSON and display them on this layout. We have some packages that were used. We have the adapters, which is actually going to go that an adapter that actually sets those values to its layout. And we have the API. In the API, we're going to be having the client and the service. That's where we're actually going to make the retrofit call, from the base URL and the endpoint URL. And the service is going to actually make that workable. And inside the model, we have the theme, which is the set and get, which we got from the Poju. You copy them out and paste them right inside it as a class. Now let's look at the main activity that ties them up. This basically extends the app compact, and we created two fields here, which is for the recycler view and the list for the themes. And we actually instantiate it to be an array list. We made it an array list with this instantiation. And in our onCreate, we set the content view to the layout, which is activity bin, the UI, the launcher UI I talked about. Now we initialize the recycler view by getting its ID, which is actually sitting on the activity main. And now we have a test to actually get the rotation. If the rotation is portrait, set the grid layout to 2, while landscape, because you only have either portrait or landscape. So if it's not portrait, it's going to be landscape. You're going to set the grid to 4. So that's what we said over here, and we pass a method called the load JSON. Let's get to see this method actually loaded up the JSON. Okay, right there at the load JSON, this is where we're going to talk about the client and the service. So from here, I'll be looking at the client right there in the API package. Let's get to see what the client is. The client actually imported the retrofit and the GSON converter, because now you're going to convert JSON to GSON. Now we have the service as a private static class called, which actually gets clients. Let's get to look at the service. The service, it's the endpoint. We have the client, which is the base URL. The client houses the base URL, and the service houses the endpoint. Now we've forwarded this JSON to the URL, which is live URL, and I have to point it to it. The first base URL is going to be the first, let's say, the domain name, and the service houses the other extension. This is where you get to have the query. This is where you can actually implement the API key. This is where you can actually use other website web services, points like the get. We have the put. We have the delete. We have the patch. We have the post. You can actually use them right there in the service. Now we're calling the JSON array, which is actually from the Google GSON, because now we are dealing with array, because we are the first layer, the first step of the JSON. The JSON is an array. That's why we need the JSON array. And we give it a kind of name called the read theme array. So that takes us back to the client. So let's see how we actually tie them up. Now we instantiate the JSON with the new GSON builder. The JSON is going to convert the JSON. So there are two different things. JSON, JavaScript object notation, and JSON is different. Now we set the format, date format of when it was being built, and we call on retrofit now to build up based on the base URL, and we add the converter factory. You need this, which is from the JSON converter factory, and you build up. This actually returns the service, which will be used right there in the main activity. Back to the main activity. After we might have declared the service and the client, now we can make a call to the JSON array, give it the load theme call. We are trying to save what we have from the service API, which actually reads the theme array over here, which reads the theme array. We save it right there into the load team call. And now we in queue, we're going to have a callback, which is going to be on response if there's success or failure. So that's going to be the two responses. Those are the two responses that we'll be getting from any retrofit call, either success or failure. Now on response, if it's successful, we have the response and the body, which we actually convert to string uh, to house in a string called team string. Now this is just a string, but we need a list. We need we don't need a string, because a string can't just we can't decode more from here. But this is where it gets a little bit clumsy from other ways of consuming or of passing the JSON. At this point, sometimes you use a for loop to iterate through what you have through the response. Since if you are having a bunch of objects right there in an array, but now the first step is an array, so you need to first of all get the type of array, the type of JSON you're dealing with before you move further. Now we have a string. That's a string as response, a string of the first, second, array that you have, but it's still not usable. So we need an helper. That's what takes us down to the list type, which is called the type token. You need this to actually get the type of JSON you're dealing with, and that actually gives us rise to this method called the get team list from JSON. This is the helper. This is the helper method that actually converts the JSON to JSON. Can you notice that it returns the new JSON from JSON? You can see that. So it actually converts it for us and test for if it's valid. That is the JSON parser, and it actually passed JSON. And if not, it's going to call a JSON syntax exception. That's the error that you might get. That's why we test for. If it's not valid, return null. If it's valid, it's going to return a new. It's going to convert the JSON to JSON. That's just what that does. This static method actually is a generic that takes on any method passing to the list, and it's not it's a helper method. So you can actually easily pass any class into that generic. So that's just what that does, and that gives rise to the list called themes. Without us decoding the string, we won't get the list of arrays that we need. So we need to use the type token. We need to use that helper to help us out. So now we get the theme list from JSON. We pass the theme string, which we got from the response, and the list type, which is actually from the type token of the list theme. We passed in the model at the generic here to get the type. Let's get the type of array we're dealing with. So that actually gives us to the list. So with this, it's usable because we pass this to the list item that was created earlier, which was converted to an array list. That's just what that does. So that's the way to actually consume the JSON of that format that has a bracket at the start, which is a JSON array. It's kind of tricky, but you can easily consume it and pass it appropriately. So with that, we set the item animator, which is attached the default item animator to the recycler view, and now we set the adapter by instantiating the themes adapter. However, we pass two parameters. We can actually pass this or get application context, and we pass the themes, which is a list array, as the second parameter, which will be used in the adapter. So that's just how we've been able to handle the JSON with a bracket or with a JSON array. So this is just how you need a helper method to actually decode that, and you need JSON to convert the JSON to JSON for you. So that's just it. Afterwards, let's get to look at the adapters. The adapters has been created since we have a list to use. The adapter will just be smiling. Now we have the adapter that extends the recycler view and also its view order, where we have two views, context and lists, whereby we also instantiate to be an array list. Now, this themes adapter, which is called right here in the main activity over here, it passes the context and the themes list or the themes array into the adapter constructor. So now the adapter has it, and from here it initializes with the fields created, which has been done here. And from here we have the view order that inflates the card, which is the themes card. And now we need to bind data to the view order, which is the card. From here we bind we've gotten a list already, and we get the position. We pass it to the object of a theme, and from there we set the text, which we can easily use the Pojo to get the title. This is a Pojo class, definitely the theme is a Pojo class, which you actually get from the JSON. You know, you generate a Pojo from the JSON. I've showed you that earlier, so that it's going to actually hold on to data for you and be able to set it appropriately. You call it when you need it. It's actually not holding on any value, but it's like a helper class as well that actually gets the data for you, set it to what you really need it for. So that's what we did here. Now we call the theme object and get the title from the list over here, and we pass it to the title, the same thing we did for the thumbnail. Now we use glide to load up the image. Glide has been a wonderful library since it's commenced, and it has been useful, very good, a very nice way to actually load up images. It has different catch. It can in fact it's a package that actually do a lot of things right there from few lines of code. It actually deals with a sync load of image. It can catches image so that it's actually it won't refresh or consume battery or consume internet calls frequently. And glide also handles error that comes from the network. It's quite good, so it's recommended to use glide to load images in Android. So we use glide here to actually load those thumbnails, which will be for the image of each football clubs. Now we have a count, which is very important. You need to override this. You get the count, you get the list, because you actually passed a list from the main activity down to the adapter, and you must know the size. So without this, there's going to be an error from the top level, which you actually need to override the get item count method. Now we have the view order. This view order actually gives you room to move more from this adapter. Probably you want to attach an intent to this adapter. On click of each views, on click of each grid, it moves to another activity or it moves to another fragment. You can actually undo it right inside the view order. And we've actually created the fields of title image that were used to bind up in the bind view order as well. We use the title and we use the image over here that binds up the view, because we've initialized the views over here. Now you can set an on-click listener to this. I actually commented some of these aspects because I actually took them out from some of the projects, and you can extend more on this. You can pass this as a passable. You can pass the whole class and pass it to another activity from this aspect. But that is not just what we are focusing on. The major focus of this tutorial is using the helper class, which is the TypeToken over here, and we also use the JSON parser over here that actually helps us to convert this kind of JSON array, to a more readable format. So if you find yourself with an array of this nature, a JSON of this nature that starts up with the bracket, which calls, you should just know that this is a JSON array, and you just use a helper, to convert it from JSON to GSON using those snippets I gave you. These are all helper methods that are going to help you decode this, and you'll be able to move past this first level, and you can even move further, because right inside this object you can still have some nested arrays, right inside it, and from there you move further. You've been able to deal with the first level, which can be very clumsy, which can be tiring sometimes if you don't know how to undo it. So this is just how the application flows, and I will implore you to play us on other JSON. If you find any JSON hard to decode or to pass, please leave a comment down in my video section. I'll be there to assist you and put you through on how to actually get past that, and from there we'll be showing how this application looks. It looks beautiful in a grid, and you acquire more enjoy how it's been displayed. So I'll head back to the studio, and I'll be launching this or giving you a screencast of this demo. Don't go anywhere. Stay back.